Welcome to today's Explainer. We're building a complete tech-to-mind toolkit today. We're going to optimize how you process information, conquer those stubborn mental hurdles, and ultimately make some truly life-defining decisions. If you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by the sheer volume of data you have to learn, or if you've ever been paralyzed by the fear of presenting your own ideas out loud, well, you are absolutely in the right place. So let's start with a bit of a puzzle. What on earth connects a cutting-edge Google AI tool, a university academic study on public speaking apprehension, and a deeply personal TED Talk by a Pakistani actress? At first glance, they seem completely unrelated, right? But as we pull back the layers today, you're going to see exactly how they form a complete chronological toolkit for the modern learner. It's all about how we gather information, how we build the confidence to express it, and finally, how we use that clarity to navigate our lives. Here's our roadmap for today. 1. AI as your study buddy. 2. The psychology of growth. And 3. Making purposeful life decisions. Okay, let's jump right into section 1. AI as your study buddy. Think about traditional note-taking for a second. It's got a massive friction problem, doesn't it? You're basically chained to a desk, staring at your own static scribbles. It's exactly why most of our notes just end up dying in some digital folder we never, ever open again. Google's NotebookLM flips this entire concept on its head. It takes your complex, static documents and generates these dynamic, interactive, podcast-style audio overviews. This means you can actually engage with your study materials during your morning commute, while you're folding laundry or hitting the gym. You're literally turning dead time into active learning time. Now, the absolute best part. This tool doesn't act like a hallucinating chatbot that just invents answers when it's confused. It's entirely source-grounded. It only pulls from the materials you give it. And the capacity is just staggering. We're talking up to 50 sources and roughly 25 million words per notebook. You can feed it PDFs, Google Docs, even YouTube video transcripts, and it instantly becomes a customized, highly accurate research assistant that strictly sticks to the facts you provided. So, how do we actually use this thing? The folks over at XDA Developers outline 3 specific workflows to really transform your study habits. Generating those audio overviews is fantastic for a quick weekly review pass. But what happens when you have an entire semester's worth of dense material? That is exactly where the second and third workflows become real game changers. Imagine getting a literal bird's eye view of your entire semester. When a notebook gets too large, say 15 or 20 sources, an audio overview might gloss over the finer details. But NotebookLM's mind maps scan everything and generate a branching, clickable diagram. It's literally like a detective's corkboard, automatically using red string to connect all the evidence and concepts for you. You don't have to manually link a single thing. The AI just builds the map of your entire course. But here's the kicker. If you're just asking the AI basic questions, you are barely scratching the surface. You're using maybe 30% of its actual potential. The real magic happens when you tweak the AI's personality. Tell it to never spoon-feed you answers, but instead ask you leading questions. Or set it up as a strict examiner that aggressively grades your understanding. It transforms a basic summarizer into a personalized Socratic tutor, forcing active recall and pushing you to actually defend your reasoning. Right, let's move on to section 2, the psychology of growth. Because let's be real, having the ultimate AI study buddy is completely useless if you're too paralyzed to actually present what you've learned. We really have to redefine competence here. A fixed mindset tells you that you're either born a naturally great speaker or you simply aren't. But a growth mindset, which was pioneered by Carol Dweck and highlighted in a great university study published in eCommons, is the firm belief that your skills can be honed and developed through dedicated effort. This simple internal shift in perspective is the absolute key to unlocking your potential. And academic research really backs this up, especially regarding our deep-seated fears of communication. That eCommons study looked at university students in public speaking courses and mapped out what they call public speaking apprehension, or PSA. They found that if students inherently believe their abilities are weak and totally unchangeable, they just anticipate failure and embarrassment. That spikes their anxiety through the roof and causes them to just disengage entirely from the process. The research draws a really fascinating line here. They found a fixed mindset is often tied to what they call transmission beliefs. The idea that your only job as a speaker is to flawlessly parrot the authoritative knowledge of experts. I mean, of course that's terrifying. But a growth mindset aligns with transaction beliefs. That means you view public speaking as a dynamic transaction, a way of expressing your own knowledge, your feelings, and your opinions. It takes all the pressure off of being perfect and puts it purely on sharing and connecting with your audience. And the hard data actually proves this works. Tracking students from the beginning to the end of the semester, the numbers just don't lie. Those who endorsed a growth mindset and transaction beliefs experienced a huge, statistically significant drop in their apprehension and a marked increase in their own self-perceived competence. Basically, these students learned that mistakes aren't permanent embarrassments. They're just helpful data points for improvement. Which brings us perfectly to our final section, making purposeful life decisions. This is where we see the ultimate real-world application of overcoming these mental hurdles. Take a look at this timeline mapping out Pakistani actor Zara Noor deeply personal journey. In an incredibly moving TED Talk at GCU Lahore, she talked about her intense passion for acting from a very young age. But, facing strict family resistance, she made a misguided decision. She got married simply to escape her home, hoping it would give her the freedom to pursue her dreams abroad. Instead, she found herself in a situation that didn't feel right at all, which ultimately led to divorce and a really devastating low point in her life. She had to break past some intensely fixed societal stereotypes that just compounded all of her personal setbacks. In Pakistani society, she faced this cruel double stigma. The whispers of, "Hi, actress hai, upar se divorcee," meaning, oh, she's an actress, and on top of that, a divorcee, created massive external pressure. If she had kept a fixed mindset, that heavy societal judgment would have permanently paralyzed her career and her life. But at Zara's absolute lowest point, she found a massive source of transformative strength, watching her mother bravely battle cancer. Her mother fought through the illness and even recorded a song for a movie when people were saying she couldn't do it anymore. Zara noted, "Hum sab ne unke himmat se himmat pakdi," meaning we all drew courage from her courage. It was basically a real-life masterclass in the growth mindset, proving that resilience can completely triumph over seemingly insurmountable odds. She realized that true purpose and clarity only come from absolute, unapologetic self-awareness. Before she could tune out those negative societal voices, she had to truly find herself. She reconnected with her faith and realized her earlier decisions were based on a really shaky understanding of what she actually wanted. When she later met her second husband, she made sure she didn't lose herself again. Her guiding principle became, mujhe hi rehna tha. I just had to remain myself. So the ultimate lesson we take from her TED Talk is this. Conquering fear requires you to step up and be the main character of your own life. You simply cannot make decisions just to escape an uncomfortable present, like Zara initially did. You have to know the why behind every single choice. You need to understand what actually drives you, and in a world that is just full of external pressures and fixed stereotypes, you absolutely must put your own authentic self first. I want to leave you with this final thought for today's explainer, challenging you to apply this entire tech-to-mind synthesis to your own journey. We've explored how to master your information with AI, how to break the heavy chains of fixed thinking and anxiety, and how to harness that newfound clarity to make unapologetic, purposeful life choices. The tools are literally right in front of you. The mindset is yours to claim. So, what purposeful decision will you make today? Thank you so much for joining me for today's explainer, and keep learning.